We welcome you back for another edition of our 2024-25 season preview series on Inside the Doghouse. We're joined alongside second-year head cross-country coach Jose Miranda. Jose, thank you so much for joining me here on this Friday afternoon. How are things going where you are?
Joe, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Things are going great here in New York City in my home.
Good. Love to hear that. So second year at the helm of the cross-country program for both the men and the women's side of things. And year number one, obviously, sometimes there are some, learning curves and whatnot. What did you learn in your inaugural season at the helm of the Bloodhounds cross-country program? And how do you plan on implementing that to this current crop of student athletes?
Well, we learned a bunch, me and my staff, Coach Juan Martez, and also Sarah Rivera is a new staff member. I think what we mainly learned is that if you establish a rich culture on the team, one that's like committed to showing up, and also to really like putting themselves out there at the races, that it just give it time, and you'll see success. Last year we finished second place on both the men and the women in the conference championship race, and we didn't expect to finish that high. That we had no idea that would happen at the beginning of the season, but like I said, we committed to establishing a certain team culture, and with time, like magic happened. And the women were actually only 5 points away from winning the whole championship, so
Wow.
We're trying to make a run for it this year.
Well, you look sometimes back to the past, but you want to stay in the present as much as possible. How has preseason looked for you, especially since you're only about 24 hours away from your first match? We'll get to that in a moment, but how has preseason looked so far after implementing those changes, as you just brought up?
Preseason is looking great. Athletes are looking pretty committed, showing up on time to practices and putting a good efforts on like some really hard workouts. Some people who have kind of stood out on the men's side, there's Lakhdar Layachi, who is only a freshman, but has really shown like a lot of talent. He's got to get some more volume, mileage under his belt, but I think we should, see some special things from Lakhdar. On the women's side, there's Sky Nix. Sky ran a great season last year, her first season, and this year she just looks like she's on a mission. Just trekking up hills and pushing herself in ways that we haven't seen before.
Well, things look pretty good there from some of those newcomers. Now, you take a peek on both sides, though, in terms of some of your returners, and talk about some of them.
Well, I'm pretty excited for Eva Garcia and Alejandro Animas on the men's side. Both of them were voted by the QBAC conference, by the coaches in the conference, as runners to look out for, to keep an eye out for. Alejandro last year finished among the top 15 runners in the conference, as did Eva. And for both of them, this is their junior year. And usually that's when you see runners kind of like hit a peak in performance, and I'm expecting that of the both of them.
Well, as we brought up early on ad nauseum, or it seems like it anyway, about 24 hours away from your first meet of the 2024 cross-country campaign. You're up at Purchase tomorrow and up at the Purchase College Invitational. What is your final message heading into your team's final your team's final practice before your first meet?
It's really just to have fun. It's the first race. In cross country, you have to pick your punches, so to speak. You can't just like go out every race, and we have a race every weekend. And this is the first one. The team is still learning to gel together. I'm hoping that they do a lot of group running, pushing one another. But we're not shooting for any particular like goal quite yet. I just want them to go out there and have a good experience.
Well, not only do you want them to have a good experience, but you take a peek at the schedule and things begin to really step up after tomorrow. And you've got the 14th at the Manhattan College Jasper Invitational before coming out to Long Island. So things are getting rather warm quickly, and not the weather-wise, but in terms of the running. And it's going to be a ton of fun, Jose, to see what you and your squad can do here in your second season at the helm. Ladies and gentlemen, Jose Miranda, the head cross-country coach in his second campaign for the men's and women's cross-country Bloodhounds programs. Jose, thank you very much for joining me on Inside the Doghouse this morning.
Thanks, Jordan.